the fact that he's got all these people swooning over him. I mean, even the people that he debased, like Mitt Romney, bowing before him at the gold towers of Trump, sucking up to him. Where is that fight that Romney had? Where are those people that said he was absolutely the wrong person for this job? He was totally unqualified, inept. Where are those people now?
Leave your desperate craving for acceptance at the door. It's time for Carl and Mike.
Welcome, Carl, Mike. I'm Carl.
I'm Mike.
We're here in our beautiful corner bakery cafe in Dallas, Texas on a cold, blustery day. Not blustery. We don't really get blustery anymore. We don't get blustery. We haven't even had fall yet.
Oh, it's going to in the next couple of days.
But here we are in December, still waiting for fall. We haven't talked enough about global warming.
Mr. Gore, the guy that invented the internet, is going to educate Mr. Trump on that. So it'll
Mr.
be
Trump
good.
has got a lot of people speaking in his ear. It's going to be interesting to see how he runs with this.
Or doesn't run with this. Well, we were just talking before we started this. Everybody's all excited about the jobs coming back.
We were talking about the technology and China, taking away jobs in America, and can we get them back, and what that looks like. So I was talking about, for 60 Minutes, had a recent show where they talked about this Mississippi town who's been aggressive at getting manufacturing jobs, and what they did was they got the community college to actually train in how to do the jobs that the companies that now are moving into that area do.
Where did those companies move from?
Well, they're a U.S. company. There was one that was a Japanese company, so some of them were out of the country and some of them were in the country.
Okay. The jobs that go from California to Texas, there's a zero-sum game. California loses, Texas wins. There's no new jobs.
Right.
It's displacing workers from one place to another, right? So that doesn't.
You probably could
much.
argue it might be a net loss of jobs, because if the company's retooling or doing a manufacturing, but not necessarily. It also could
automating.
It also could be a company that figured out how to create a widget of a certain kind and does it better than everyone else, and so now there's a new company.
Or let's say there's a company, say Toyota, in Southern California that moves to Dallas, which we're going through right now. They have 10,000 employees, but their average pay, let's say, is $70,000 wages that'll allow these people to live in Southern California, but they move everybody over here, and now their average wage is less than that. Say it's only $5,000 a year less than that. There's wage savings there, plus the tax advantages.
But I think most
Texas
manufacturing jobs that are coming are based on new ways of
Robots,
building materials.
automation.
Right? They're going to use a lot of robotics.
Right.
Right. So you're going to retool a company that maybe didn't use robotics before, but because that company's also market has expanded, so they don't have customers just in the States. They have customers possibly all over that buy this widget. So, you get a combination of both in terms of where these jobs are coming from. Some are coming from other countries. Some are coming from creation of something new. We build virtual reality headsets, so now you need a company that builds the headsets, right? And things like that. To me, the key for Americans is getting re-educated on how to work in a 21st century manufacturing plant, which is going to be highly robotic, and it's kind of really overseeing the robots. And that's less people, because robots work 24/7 and do the same thing over and over again. This Mississippi show is a helicopter plant that they build helicopters, and robots really build the helicopters, and the humans make sure everything stays. So there's a training, the skill set to run those robots.
Right. If you go back and look at old photographs of the assembly lines for Fords, up in Detroit, and you see all the people sitting there bolting stuff together and everything, that's the way it was done. You look at it now, you got these arms, these robots that are coming down, and they're locked into position. They know exactly what they're doing. Beauty about the robots is they don't get sick, they don't get pregnant. They work 24 hours a day. They don't have breaks.
You see in the 1950s, rows and rows of secretary desks, that's now handled by one secretary because of technology. Technology is always changing We don't have hundreds of secretaries at a company like we did back in the 50s, that all these jobs have been lost now and people are working less because of that. It just evolves into something different.
This is the thing that's lost, and nobody can answer this question. Nobody can answer it. I've got a job.
Let me try. Go ahead.
Okay, I've got a job. I'm working in Detroit for $70,000 a year. The plant leaves. I don't have that anymore.
Right.
I'm able to find another job after looking around.
Right.
That's paying me $40.
Right.
But my expenses, the house and everything else, were based on a job at 70.
Right. So you got three options here. One, you go find another job that pays less in Detroit. Two, you go get yourself educated so you can get a more higher paying job. Or three, you move from Detroit and go where the jobs are. Most people take the option of sticking in town, don't get re-educated, and go for a lower paying job.
And so what they're doing is they're struggling.
Right.
So all of a sudden now you've got an 8-hour-a-day job, plus you've got to get re-educated sometime. So in theory, let's hope that the people that are re-educating you understand that most people have got to work during the day, so they're going to have re-education at night. So all of a sudden you basically have a job and a half. But getting the re-education doesn't mean that once you get through with the class, somebody's going to be waiting there to give you a job to replace the old salary.
Right. You still may have to move. In a situation like Detroit, if there's a mass exodus, Detroit is not a good place to stay. I lived in the Midwest and moved to Dallas. The only reason I moved to Dallas because that's where the jobs were. So there is that element that you may have to move, especially if you're in an area where it's sucking jobs.
And a lot
up.
of people don't want to move
A lot of
because
people don't want
they
to.
have deep roots there, their families there,
totally
generation.
understand. Where I think government could come in, and if Republicans were smart and not anti-government, is there's a place for government, for something to do that retraining, because these people are going to need to be retrained. So the easier you can make it to get retrained, the better. Really, community colleges, I think, would be a good example, is they should train for the manufacturing jobs that are in that area. They should make deals with the companies, and maybe you can even get cross-paying on that, I don't know. But hey, we'll train people to work in your company through our community college. And that's the deal. You stay here and we'll get retrained and what have you. I think more of that needs to start to happen, more cooperation that way.
Well, that would be good.
Purpose of community college would be to train high-paying, for lack of a better word, blue-collar jobs. Would be a good place for community, a good niche for. I don't need community college to teach me English.
Well,
So much as I need community college to teach me a trade.
I think high school needs to do that. I think when you
Well, you
graduate
could.
from
You
high
could argue
school,
for
you
that,
should be able
too.
to have. You should be trained. There should be some sort of trade that you're trained for. Cutting hair, it's never going to be offshore. So robots
Right.
are not going to cut your hair.
I don't know about that.
Well, they're not going to cut it well.
No,
you
they'll
know.
cut it very precise. Absolutely, I could see robots cutting hair.
Anyway,
The thing about technology is going to cut into white-collar stuff. There's technology that's moving into lawyer land, right?
it's just not technology, but offshoring. There's not as many people going to law school. Yeah, I'm going to cry about that. And when they get out there having trouble finding jobs, again, did you see the tears here? Let me wipe this away. But a lot of times the research and stuff that's been done by paralegals now being offshore. I mean, they can pay somebody in India, and they're doing it while they're sleeping. They get up the next morning, the research is ready.
So part of this election we were talking was either a rebuke or a reaction to globalization and jobs moving out of the country to cheaper labor, being able to be made cheaper. So my question is,
it's a rebuke of that, but I think it's also a rebuke of the elites that control that process.
right, Donald Trump is the man that's going to change that. We'll see.
You ask the elites to change
The elites.
the elites.
The question
That's
is,
like
Donald Trump a rogue elite who's going to make that change, or does he fall back on what he knows?
He falls back on what he knows. The whole process of him filling its cabinet positions are like a reality show. You're bringing people in front of the cameras, getting the grits and grins. Everybody's speculating about this person, about that person. Is Tammy going to marry Bob, or is she going to marry Sam, or is she going to go rogue and marry Kevin, even though Kevin really doesn't like her that much?
So the cabinet thing is the Bachelorette,
Does it not
Al
seem
Gore
like?
showed up
Does it not?
yesterday.
I
Yeah.
know. So all of a sudden we got a wild card in there. Okay, so he's the wild card.
Right.
So don't you think that's what that is?
It looks
sure
like
it is. Sure,
it's
sure it
being
is.
set up that way. They all go up the elevator and they come back down. And the press is right
it's
there.
a combination of that. It's a combination of Survivor. It's a combination of his reality show. That's what he knows. So he's going to set up the process to play to his strengths and what he knows.
Yeah, we're in a real
And
life.
that's what
We're
this
in
is.
a sense a real life apprentice game.
That's
Come on.
exactly what it seems like to me.
Yeah. So then that gets done. So he gets everybody hired. So now there's going to be a new reality show game when he's president.
Well, I think what it does is it gives him the ability, that and his tweets, to distract people from the important things that are going on.
Right. So there seems to be three storylines with Trump. We're still trying to figure out which one. So there's one storyline is, he's a master manipulator, knows exactly what he's doing.
Yes. Yeah.
Then there's the storyline, he's a brilliant buffoon. He's a buffoon, doesn't know shit about anything, and it's just
Bungling his way
so
along.
bungling his way along and
No, I
just
don't buy
lies
that.
100%.
I don't
And
buy
just,
that.
just constant lying.
Well, that I
Okay.
like.
Well,
yeah.
so there's that Trump, and then there's the third Trump, which is, I'm an older man and I'm going to use all my skills to make America great again, and I'm going to fix the ripped off systems that are in the politics and business and,
And
all
in the
that.
process,
And I know how
make
to.
myself a little money.
Then there's the fourth Trump that I'm just doing. This is all done for personal aggrandizement and lining my pockets. So which of those four Trumps is true? All four of them are true.
Well, all four of them are true. That's right. That probably is.
If all four of those are true,
And if you take all four of those, and each one of them
there's
is a
some that-
different color, which part of the pie is the buffoon part? How big of it is a buffoon? How much of it is greed?
well, you can't be a buffoon who doesn't know shit about anything, and at the
That's
same
what I'm
time
saying.
a master manipulator who knows exactly what
That's
they're
what I'm
doing.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's a pie chart.
But you can't be an idiot and a genius at the same time, can you?
Can't. You're a genius at manipulating people to hide the fact that you don't know anything,
All right.
or that you don't know as much as you say you do. You're able to manipulate people to get them to believe any fucking thing that comes out of his mouth.
So there's the Machiavellian view of Trump, right? Which he's a narcissistic manipulator who is out to line his own pockets and fuck over America. And then there's the benevolent Trump, who's here to fix the problems and make America great again and bring back the jobs. Which Trump is?
I don't believe there's a benevolent
Trump.
bone in his body.
So you're going with
I
the
don't believe
Machiavellian
that there's an
approach.
ounce of empathy or caring about anybody or anyone
himself.
but himself. If he did, he wouldn't have insulted people
Maybe.
and debased the process the way he did. He doesn't care about anything but what he wants when he wants it. He wants what he wants when he wants it, how he wants it. Period. And what's horrible about this, if I'm right, and I'm not saying that I am, let's say that that's all he cares about. He's got people swooning over him thinking he's the second coming. The fact that one person feels that way is nothing. The fact that he's got all these people swooning over him, I mean, even the people that he debased, like Mitt Romney, bowing before him at the gold towers of Trump, sucking up to him. Where is that fight that Romney had? Where are
could
those
you-
people that said he was absolutely the wrong person for this job? He was totally unqualified, inept. Where are those people
Yeah.
now? They're looking for a job.
Romney doesn't need a job. So there's two routes, and we could do this with Romney. Is Romney motivated by, oh, fuck, this guy's in power. I need to get in there and try to stop it from going totally off the rails? Or is he just an opportunist who wants...
He's trying to be the sacrificial person that'll go in there and keep some sort of hook on the inside of the old established Republican Party, which is, as far as I'm concerned,
I think whether it's Romney or Gore or anyone else who thinks that Trump is a disaster for this country, to have Trump's ear. Because if he is a kind of a blank slate, kind of a Peter Sellers being
Yeah.
there, blank slate, then having his ear gives you potential influence to move him in the direction
If you have
for the
influence.
better of the country.
If you think
Well,
you
you
have
got
more
Ivanka
influence.
has some influence. Seems to be that's the
Bannon
and
has
Bannon has it.
influence, and what's that?
So is he putting a team of rivals
Skinny
together?
Babe, Kellyanne.
So you got Bannon in one ear, you got Ivanka in another ear, obviously saying opposite things.
But you also have him saying, "I want what I want when I want it."
So what does he
and
want?
I got.
But doesn't he? If he wants to bring the jobs back to America, then he'll go for what he wants. It's about make me great again. What's going to make him great? Make
What
him
he
great.
wants is for the focus of everybody's attention to be on him.
Well, he's
Okay.
got that.
Okay.
He already won
Oh,
that.
so he's
That's the
gonna
ultimate
maintain
prize. Yes.
Okay, that's what he's been doing this whole process. He's
Right.
not.
But now that he's got his
sleepily
attention-
putting together
Right.
and thoughtfully.
How's he going to
putting together
keep their attention?
low hanging fruit? What's low hanging fruit? What's the first
Carrier.
carrier? And why was it low hanging fruit? Because it was a state that he won.
Right.
It was a manufacturing deal.
With
And who
Pence.
happened to be the governor over
Right,
there?
all right,
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And we gave him $6 million in tax breaks
and we gave him
for
a bunch of money.
750,
Okay.
850 jobs.
And did we save all the jobs? No. We saved some of them.
850 of them.
And there was probably this threat that, when we get in there, United Technologies is not going to get as much defense contracting.
Right. Who has the voice on that makes those decisions?
Right now, he does. It's going to be as easy to bully the CEOs of these corporations as it was to the feckless pussies that are the Republicans. It's going to probably be easier.
So
to
he's
do
just
that.
he's just going to tweet about Apple being a dick. Don't buy Apple products. They're taking their jobs to
Yeah.
China.
What he now can say is, see, I promised you that I was going to save jobs. I did it before I even got sworn in.
Well,
Whatever
and he
the-
might become the ultimate evangelist, right?
And he might.
He tweets out every time a company decides to bring the jobs back to
That's
America.
right. So anybody that was thinking about, and I think
So you get a little free press.
There was another 14 companies or corporations that are already planning on moves overseas. How many are ultimately going to do that this year? Is it going to be down to 8, down to 7? Is he going to get credit for the 14 going down to 8 or 7 with or without making calls? It's a small world, corporate CEOs. They know each other. Okay.
You're talking big corporates, yes.
Huh? Yeah, big corporations.
They're on
So-
boards.
So,
They
the
share
guy,
boards
the guy
with
with
each other.
United Technologies, absolutely, calls the guy with TI who was thinking about doing it. Go, listen, or the guy with TI calls his friend on the United Technologies board, says, hey, what happened? And he goes, oh man, this guy's like hammering on me. And the other guy goes, man, I don't need that PR. I can put this off for a while. And so he puts it off for 2 years. It doesn't happen now. Trump gets credit for it. Okay, it's strictly that because he's afraid. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't want to have Trump stand up in front of a group of people, and Trump will continue to do these crowd deals.
All Trump has to do is, I say even less, in a sense. They hired Trump to be a disruptor.
Yeah.
So he's disrupting this whole China-Taiwan thing, answering a phone call.
So what he's going to do is he's going to
That's a
continue to do
disruptor.
these thank you tours, that he's doing. He's going out in front of the rallies. What does he want? He
Adulation.
wants adulation. He wants to be there. He wants the cameras in front of him.
Right.
What's he going to
He
do
wants
if
to
he
be
doesn't?
liked.
What's going to
So-
happen if that gets pulled out from under him?
Or if the protests continue to mount against
Yeah.
him.
So he's going to hit low-hanging fruit. He did that. I think he'll do that.
So you're saying he's not driven by an ideology one way or another. He's just driven by adulation and attention.
in recognition.
If he needs to swing to the left to get it, he'll swing to the left. It seems like, if InfoWars is his number one source of news, he's definitely drifted over into the right-wing camp. He's got some hardcore cabinet positions
Well,
here.
it's not even right wing. It's like alt-right. It's the bullshit side of stuff.
Right. That's where he seems to be his stasis. All things being equal, he goes in that direction. So that's not good.
No, because and one of the reasons that he's over there is because it's easily manipulative. It's like the National Security Advisor's son says, well, this story about the pedophiles at the pizza place, until we know more about it, it's a story.
And the National Security Advisor, General Flynn, retweeting that bullshit.
With his son, who's
right. That's the frightening part of Trump, is this kind of in cahoots with and surrounding himself with really nut jobs.
Yeah.
If you listen to InfoWars, there's something fucked up in your brain.
except for the people that listen to InfoWars, believe that stuff. They
But how many
believe-
times
it's-
does the pizza thing got to be
It doesn't
debunked?
matter whether it's real or not. Doesn't matter whether it's the truth or not. It's whether they believe it's the truth and disbelieve the opposite. And that's the part that I can't even wrap my head around. I can't even remotely wrap my head
Well,
around.
if you hate
that.
Hillary and everything about Hillary, and someone says Hillary has a sex ring with her
Yeah.
with her chief of
Well,
staff in a restaurant,
Who's
and
going to be the new boogeyman?
who's going to replace Hillary?
Somebody's got to be a boogeyman. You got to have a boogeyman.
Ain't
New
going to
boogeyman.
Hillary
I don't
anymore.
know.
It could be Obama.
I don't know.
So you've lost your two boogeymen.
Yeah.
Well, whoever starts to come up the ranks on the Democrat side
I don't-
to challenge Trump in
I don't know.
2020 will be the
I don't know.
boogeyman. Whether it be, it doesn't really matter whether it be Joe Biden or anybody. If you're
So
going
I
to create fake news stories
Yeah.
about him, then that's what
I
you're
think
gonna do.
his goal, and he even said so much when he was, I'm going to hire people to run the government. I'm going to do what I do. And what he does is focus attention on himself, and he does that by making promises and then hitting some low-hanging fruit and going out to these rallies. People will keep going to these rallies. How
So you're
long
saying
will
that's
they
a winning
keep going to these rallies?
Well, if the jobs don't come back,
Well, he's only going to go to the rally in the town where the jobs came back. That's the only place he's going to go. Or he'll go to a place where the jobs haven't come back yet, and he'll pull another CEO out on the stage with him, and he said, Bob here's got an announcement for you.
that's a smoke and mirrors. At the end of the day, if people aren't getting work, then it turns out to be bullshit. And Trump's going to misstep in other
It wasn't
areas.
bullshit for the people in Indiana, and we haven't gotten, just relax, South Carolina. We're going to get to you. We can't do it all at once. And the people in South
So
Carolina look
you're
to
kind
Indiana.
of
and
you're
they go,
presenting this kind of bulletproof plan that Trump wins even when Trump loses.
No, I'm just saying it's a scenario. This is what I see.
But at the same time,
whether it's
if you've
true
got-
or not, I don't know. This is what I see happening. I'm trusting my eyes.
That's exactly what he's doing
Yeah.
right now.
I'm trusting my eyes and
Is
my
that a
ears.
winning plan? I don't know.
I'm more interested in my eyes and my ears and watching the actual actors than I am in what I hear people say. And I think a big part of that has to do with the last few years me following the news and reading stuff. It's like I've gotten to the point where I really don't want to hear the experts say what they think is going to happen. I don't care what they think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I want
The
to know
experts
what
are wrong
actually happens.
Quite often.
Right. And so I try and watch and pay attention to that and see what's going on. And I could be totally wrong on all this.
But, when you say to see what's going on, hard making sure
And
you're
that's
not
based-
filtered. You got to make sure you're not filtered.
Well, after everything I've read this last week about fake news and listen to these guys that are generating fake news overseas, and they're doing it because they're in Bosnia or whatever it is, and they've got 12 websites that are designed to look like Huffington Post or some of the other ones, and they're generating this bullshit that that gets picked up, that Trump and his plebes,
Well, it turns out they show
retweet.
fake news on both sides.
One of the last articles I read, I think it was New York Times, they're saying, well, we're bitching about the Soviets doing this. We did this in South America to overthrow
Yeah.
with the CIA. So what's the difference? The difference
coming
is,
back to us.
Well, yes. The difference is we've been sold to believe that we're the good guys. The United States is the good guys.
Right.
And one of the things, and I'm assuming that it was a real story. Did you see the story of the veterans that went up to
Yeah.
Dakotas?
All of a sudden-
and Wesley Clark's son
Right.
sat down and he was on his knees in front of a chief saying, I am sorry, I apologize for what we have done to you and your people and the Native Americans. That shit should have happened fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Is that going to cure everything? No. There are going to be people that think he should have never got down on his knees and apologized. There's still going to be shitheads that believe that we should do whatever we want to do.
I'll be shocked if when Trump comes in, that's one of the first skirmishes that's going to happen up there because he's pro-business and that's a business thing. I think this is a short-lived victory at Standing Rock.
Oh, it probably is a short-lived victory, but I don't know that it's necessarily low-hanging fruit. Trump is an easy kind of guy. He's going for easy marks.
Yeah. So you're saying he's going to avoid the difficult? He don't want to be
Hard
seen.
decisions, yeah, or put them off on somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen a group of veterans go up and to defend something like that. That was kind of unusual.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there was a back down there. because they don't want the optics of that. Because now you're going to what? You're going to
Be against the
fight.
veterans
You're
too.
gonna
Yeah, you can fight the veterans
so
and
now
the
you got a
Indians.
little mini civil war going on,
Yeah,
don't you?
neighbor against neighbor, family against family.
We're going Crips and what's
Crips and
the
Bloods,
gang? Crips
yeah.
and Bloods. Didn't they have blue and red handkerchiefs
Shit,
or
yes.
colors?
Oh, do-rags. We'll just wear. That's how we know each
That's
other.
how we know if you're blue or red.
Yeah.
Is that where we're
This is the
going?
kind of handkerchief or do-rag that you have on your head. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go. That would be a frightening thing. Well, that's a great way to end this show.
It
Michael.
is.
America.
What color kerchief
Ben.
are you gonna wear?
Yeah. Started here, folks. You heard it here first. Carl, Mike, that's the kind of stuff you get. That's a little thought leadership, Michael.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah. Maybe get little Carl and Mike logos on the blue kerchief. Well, we'll sell both because we're equal opportunity capitalists here.
Oh yeah, I'll sell to whoever as long as I get the money. It's kind of like the people doing the fake news. I don't give a shit as long as the check's clear.
That's really what that is, right?
Yeah.
So that the fake news is also driven monetarily, right? They get
Oh,
clicks
that's
and stuff.
the two guys that I've seen so far talking about it. It's straight up money.
Straight up money.
They don't care.
Yeah. And supposedly Facebook and Google and stuff are going to crack down on fake news. So
Uh-huh,
we'll see
yeah,
how that works.
sure.
out.
Yeah.
You're not helpful?
No.
You don't think the technology is there to do it?
Yeah, I think.
It's dangerous because you could get into censorship there.
Well, there's always technology to do it, but there's also technology to overcome the technology. So
Tune in, America.
the end
And
is
the world.
the end is near.
Or the end is just beginning.
Yeah, the end is beginning. It's the beginning of the end.
Okay.
Okay.
More. We need to
Buy
learn
those
how to
bags
end a
of
show
rice
on an upbeat note as opposed to where we end up going here.
Oh, I tell you what, we're having a little fake news. Ivanka Trump is going to be the new centerfold on Playboy.
There you go.
There you go. I mean, Ivanka Trump, dude.
I think she's already done that.
Yeah, and her
Put up
stepmom. And it's gonna be the first time Playboy has ever done a double center spread. One of them is Ivanka, and one of them's gonna be
So daughter-mother thing. Or stepmother.
Stepmother, yeah.
Fake news, you've heard it here first.
Yes, this is real, man. I promise. The guy down
saw
in
it
the
on
corner
TV.
told me.
Yeah,
I saw it on TV. Yeah. So,
All right.
all right,
Check us all out on carlmike.net. Peace.
out.